Hi guys, my name's Deb Marnie and I'm from Aussie Maille, and welcome to our chainmail tutorial channel. Hey guys, it's really great to see you. Thanks for popping along and sharing your day with us. Today I've got a weave tutorial to show you. It is the Lorelei weave. I would aim this at fairly experienced, like an intermediate type weave. It's not too difficult, but there is a couple of things to remember. Anyway guys, let's just jump straight into it. So here's some sample pieces of the Lorelei weave done in the various gauges. So this version here is 14 gauge AWG, which is 1.6mm diameter wire. And the ring IDs I've used here are 8.5mm for the bright aluminium, and the anodized aluminium is 1/4 inch or 6.35mm. For the 16 gauge version, these are the bright aluminium are 1/4 inch, 6.35 mils, and the anodized aluminium are 3/16 inch or 4.76mm ID rings. The 18 gauge version, which is 1mm diameter wire, the bright aluminium rings are 5 mils, and the anodized aluminium rings are 5/32 inch or 3.97mm. And finally, the 20 gauge AWG version, which is 0.8mm diameter wire, the bright aluminium rings are 4.25mm ID, and the anodized rings are 1/8 inch or 3.18mm. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to do this weave today in the 14 gauge so that it's easier for you guys to have a look at. Okay, so to start off this weave, you need to make a short chain that's got 2 of your bright aluminium rings, your large rings, and 2 of your smaller rings in place. Once you've done that, put a twist tie through that large pair of rings. Gives you something to just hold on to and keep things in place. So our next ring that we're going to place is another anodized aluminium ring, and this ring is going to come up through our 2 anodized rings that are already in place, and we're going to bring it up through that bright aluminium ring there as well. Okay, so only going through the bright aluminium ring that's on top. You can see it that way. We're just going through the bright aluminium and both anodized aluminium rings there. Okay, so close that up, and it should look like this. So we need to place another anodized aluminium ring. This time we're going to go through both anodized rings again, but we're going to come up through just the second bright aluminium ring. Okay, just like that, just up through that second ring and close. All right, so our first one came through the first ring, the ring on top. Our second ring came up through our second ring. By doing that, it forces our ring into this pattern where you can see our top ring sets down below. We've got a reoccurring pattern here where you've got, see here, the top ring is on the bottom, the top ring is sitting at top of our piece, down the bottom, up the top. So we need to make sure that we maintain that patterning all the way through. Okay, so our next ring that we're going to place is a bright aluminium ring, the large ring, and this one, we're going to bring this up through the middle of the first pair of anodized rings. Okay, bring it up through that so that it sits there on top of that ring, the top ring there. So it's captured both of the second pairs of anodized ring, but it's only captured the top of our original pair there. So you can see that sort of pattern that it's got there. So we're going to close that one up, and we're going to place our second bright aluminium ring. This time we're going to go and pick up this ring here at the bottom, our second ring. Okay, come up through the path like that. Hopefully you can see that. So we're picking up only the bottom of our original or our first pair of AA rings and both of our second pair of AA rings. And we're going to close that up. And when we position those rings, you can see now that our top ring is at the top end of our weave, where previously it was at the bottom. So now we want to place another pair of anodized aluminium rings, and this one's simple. They just go through both of our end pair of BA. So put a pair of rings there like that. Okay. And we want to mirror the pattern of this ring, this set of rings here. So our next AA ring, so we're going to mirror this pattern, this one here. We're going to go pick up both of our AA rings and just the top BA ring. Okay, you can see that. Close it up. And then our second anodized ring in the pair needs to go through our second BA ring and both of our AA rings there. Okay, close that up. And that's what your work looks like there. So you can see that we've mirrored that pattern. Taking up another bright aluminium ring. Now we want this to be underneath like this one is over here. Okay, so this ring comes up through the second pair of rings, taking up both the second pair of rings, but we're only going to pick up the top of the first pair of rings. Okay, we're going to close that up. So your work should look like that. Okay, so we've got that ring in place there where we've come up through the bottom and through our first ring here. The next one we want to come in and pick up just the second ring in our weave, in our pair. So this one's through the first, this one's through the second, making sure we pick up both of the pair of rings in the second one. Close that up. And our work should look like this. Okay, so we just need to keep repeating the pattern. So this time we want to put a pair of rings straight through our bright aluminium rings. Okay. And we want to mirror this pattern here, or we want it to look exactly like this one over here. Okay. So once we've placed our two rings, our next set of rings, okay, if you look back here, they come up through this one here and up through this one here. Okay, so we're looking at this ring here, this one here. We'll close that up. And the next one goes up through our two anodized aluminium rings, but up through the back bright aluminium ring. Okay, and we close that up. Now you can see that we have mirrored the patterning here. Our next ring is a large ring. Takes a little to get into the swing of this pattern, so don't worry if you're not seeing it straight away. So we want this one, these set of rings to mirror this, or not to mirror, to be the same as this set over here. So to do that, we're going to feed this ring between our first pair of rings, picking up both of the second pair of rings and coming out on top of our top ring there. So we're picking up just our top ring of our first set and both rings in our second set. Okay, close that up. Our next set of rings needs to come through and pick up both of these second pair of rings, but only the back of the first of our AA rings. Okay, so starting at the back and coming through and picking it up. Okay, close that up. So you can see those rings are sort of in the opposite corners of the weave. They pick up rings in the opposite corners. Close that up and our work looks like this. Take up another pair of AA rings, feed it straight through those two BA rings. Okay. And then our second pair of rings, with this one we want to mirror this weave here, this piece here. Now one way I like to think about it, we can see that our bright aluminium ring here is on top. So when this bright aluminium ring here is on top, we work from the front to the back of our weave. Okay, so in this case we're going to pick up both of the AA rings coming through from the front of our weave, and we're going to pick up our top bright aluminium ring there. Okay, we're going to close that up. And then our second ring, we're going to go through the front of the second ring down here on our bright aluminium and through both pairs of the anodized aluminium. Okay, and we're going to close that up. All right, so that now mimics or mirrors that one there. Our next bright aluminium ring, okay, needs to be the same as this one over here. So this one picks up both of the second pairs of rings and it picks up just the first pair, going from what is effectively the front of that ring to the back of that ring. Close that up and then repeat with a second bright aluminium ring. This time we're picking up the back of our first pair of rings, our second one, and both of the second pair of rings. Okay, closing that up. Our next pair of rings just goes straight through our last pair of bright aluminium. Okay, just like that. Well, excuse any noises you can hear in the background, and it sounds like our neighbour's working on a motor or something. So this time when I look at this, I can see that our bright aluminium ring here is on the bottom. So when I want to place my next anodized aluminium ring, okay, I'm going to come up basically from the back of the weave. So I'm going to pick up both of those anodized aluminium rings and I'm going to come from the back of this ring to the front of this ring. Okay, so I'm picking up the top ring only from back to front. I'm closing that up. And then with the second one, I'm coming in, I'm picking up both of those rings and I'm picking up the second bright aluminium ring back from the back to the front, and I'm closing that up. Okay. And then our bright aluminium ring, okay, is the same as this one here. So we're going to go from the front of our weave, we're going to pick up just that top ring and both of the second pair of rings there. Okay, so going through that first pair of rings, bringing it up through that top ring so it sits on the top. That way you've picked up just that top ring and both of the second pair. Close it up. Okay, and then our next ring goes straight through here. It picks up our second ring there and both of the second pair of rings. Okay, going from the back of your weave to the front of your weave. And you just keep repeating those steps until you reach the length that you require. Okay, so again, the first pair of rings is simple. It's just straight through our bright aluminium rings. Okay, so as I said, there's a couple of ways of remembering which these ones go. You can mirror this ring here. You can look at this ring here and see which way the ring needs to go. The other way that I like to remember it is my bright aluminium ring, my top aluminium ring is at the top of my weave, so that means I weave from the front to the back of this ring here. So I pick up both of my AA rings and I go from the front to the back of my BA ring, picking up just that top ring. And I close that up. And then with my second ring that I need to place, I pick up just the bottom bright aluminium ring, going from the front to the back, making sure I pick up both of the AA rings there as well. Okay, and I close that up. My bright aluminium ring, I need it to look like this one over here. Okay, this previous one up here. So I need that to come again up through these rings here, and we're going from the front to the back of this first pair of AA rings. Okay, close it up. Our second one, this time we want to pick up our second ring here. So we're just going to go through the front to the back of it, picking up that second pair of AA rings as we go along. Okay, and you can see our large rings maintaining the pattern, and you can see our AA rings, the mirroring pattern that's going along there as well. And I'll just show you one more set of rings to complete the pattern. So we put in our first pair of rings, which is our nice easy ones. They just go straight through the bright aluminium. Okay, and when I'm looking for how I'm going to place the next pair, okay, I'm going to look and I can see that my bright aluminium ring on top is down the bottom. Okay, so I know that I'm going to come from the back of my weave to the front of my weave. So I pick up both of these anodized aluminium rings, and I pick up this first ring by going from the back up through to the front, just the top ring. Close that up. Okay, and our next ring, I'm going to do the same. This time I'm going to go up through the anodized rings and up through just the second bright aluminium ring, going from the back to the front of that weave. And that's it, guys. You just keep repeating those patterns, making sure you maintain that mirroring of patterns all the way to the end of the bracelet or necklace or whatever it is that you're making. Hey guys, well that's it. That's our video tutorial today. I hope you enjoyed learning the weave along with us. If you did like it, don't forget to give us a thumbs up here at YouTube, share our video, enter some comments down below if you have any comments or questions about the video. And if you really did enjoy the video and you'd like to offer us some support, and you haven't subscribed already, consider doing that. And while you're there, hit that bell so that you receive notification every time we upload some new content here. While you're here, don't forget to check out all our other videos for tutorials we have here. We have over 140 for you to choose from. And last but not least, don't forget to check out our link up in the corner there for our website, where we sell all the rings, tools and components that you'll need to create this piece and many others. Alright guys, thanks so much for popping along. Hope you enjoyed it, and we get to see you again sometime in the very near future. Bye!